go through this industry because, I mean, as a female guitar player, ears and eyes, unfortunately.
Courtney, that was actually one of my questions, and you opened the door. Is it very difficult for a woman in the industry with a lot of the, I mean, what makes it more challenging? And I'm sure that's one of the things that you just mentioned.
It's not going to be easy, but you got this. And just stay true to yourself.
That's great advice. Because a lot of times people, they just see you on stage and they see you living that dream, but they don't necessarily understand it unless it's in the tabloids or in the news, a challenge. What is something you had to overcome to get where you're at?
Press was a hard one, like keyboard warriors and stuff. Back when I was younger, I would take every negative comment to heart. For me, I mean, even going back on my fitness journey, I grew up as pretty much like an obese child. So I was that kid teased in school. I remember even I think it was 35th grade, I had to go to school with a sound recorder in my purse. I got it so bad. And I think I was just entering high school, and I just, jumped on that fitness wagon. I dropped a good, I think 80.
Do you have someone across genres that you could ever imagine collaborating with in a song? And if so, I mean...
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. You've been posting that online. I've been watching that.
Lately, it's I always knew he was doing his, singing thing, but I never really listened into it until obviously now being out here in Germany, because he's, God over here. And
yeah, they love him.
And now it's just drive around to it. I'm like, that'd be great. Everything was really underground. I just kind of, I guess, had that cliche, I want to go to Hollywood. That's where all the stars are, and rock stars, and I just got to do it. And gave my mom a week's notice, and off I was. From the town that I'm from, it's a small factory town. Mom was upset, of course, because, the little baby's leaving home, leaving the nest.
Courtney, as Bob mentioned early, he did a little foreshadowing in the beginning about me. I love hip-hop, always loved hip-hop. Even though in the 80s was really big metal and hard rock, I was really into it. But a friend of the show in my first hip-hop group that I listened to was Run DMC. And Daryl McDaniel, DMC, the king of rock, he's been on the show. He's friends of ours. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with this.
And welcome to the Apex Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Bobgdmd, and I'm here as always with my co-host,
Dennis V. How you doing this day, Bob?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It just keeps coming better and better and better. Music. So, Dennis, we've been busy, man.
It's always busy. This is great. You got to stay busy. Some great things going.
Right? And we got, it's Sunday.
Sunday morning for us is Sunday afternoon for somebody else.
Right? And Dennis, we just got back from Las Vegas.
Vegas was fun.
What do we do over there, man?
We did the Wu-Tang. They have a residency out there. We enjoyed the show out there. Guests of Capadonna. And a lot of fun. They put on an amazing performance. It was like a theatrical production. A lot of things going on. We rode some fast cars out there. Where'd you ride, Bob?
I was in a Ferrari 488 in the straightaway, about 150 miles an hour. And you were in what were you in?
I drove it like a Pinto, but I was in a Lamborghini Huracan, and it took me a while to speed up, but it was lots of fun. And,
right.
It's great to be back in the studio.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? Today we have a real honor of inviting, a shredder extraordinaire. So we were at the hip hop thing. That's your thing, right?
Absolutely.
Now we're bringing it back to the rock and metal thing for me.
The fire is in here today.
Right? We brought the fire. We brought the thunder all the way from Germany. V Gates.
Wie geht's dir? Alles gut.
So we have Courtney Cox, CCSHRED from the Burning Witches and formerly the Iron Maidens. And shredder extraordinaire, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the show. Welcome, Courtney.
Welcome, Courtney.
Hello.
Hawaii.
Yo.
Right on. So yeah, we're doing a remote because Courtney's over in Germany, right? You're originally from Philly, from what I understand, yeah?
Yeah, right outside. We call it Delco, right by the airport.
Nice. So another fellow East Coaster, right? We're in New England, up in Boston. And thank you so much for coming in Sunday. I know you guys are preparing for a North American tour, I guess.
Yeah, just complete tour prep right now. My house looks like a bomb went off, just chaos, packing packages from endorsement companies, and going insane, basically.
Yeah, you know, I see the comparison behind you, right? And what is that? You were telling us earlier, camera, it was a blue one, right?
Yeah, blue one.
I know the green and the pink one, but this is hey, look at that.
That's beautiful.
The funny thing about the colors, I was, when I lived in LA, every time I would, go out shopping or whatever, I would always see I forget what model Jeep it was, but there was always a Jeep that went by me with this color blue. And like, I need that color on stage. Like, I need it. And then I got a hold of comparison. And then in Japan, they actually contacted Jeep, and Jeep sent them the exact color that I kept saying.
That's cool. That is a cool story, man. That's fantastic.
You had them do a little legwork for you.
Yeah. A great company. So.
Yeah. So I'm not going to geek out too much, but I could. What are you running for pickups in there?
Actually, comparison wines are in pickups. So, if it's not broken, don't fix it. They sound great.
Right, awesome. And we can later we'll get into some of your outboard and things like that if we want to. But so tell us about this North American tour that you're doing. When does it start? Where does it end?
I think this is I could be wrong. Time runs together now. The fourth time witches are coming over. This time headlining. It starts October 23rd in Fresno, California. And hopefully we're finishing in Florida, barring, the damage from the hurricanes and stuff like that. So
right.
I think it's about a 3-week run, which is long enough.
You guys have been busy. You've been all over doing tours and doing festivals. I've been watching everything. And, I became a fan of the Burning Witches back in 2022. And I saw you were playing with the Iron Maidens at the time. And we were at the Vault in New Bedford, Massachusetts. And it was really the first time I had seen Burning Witches, and they were fantastic. And it's kind of cool that I see you guys now, you're playing with the Burning Witches, and that's fantastic. How did you end up, we'll start back early. Like let's start off and then we'll end at that. So I kind of foreshadowed a little bit, right? So
my timeline, here we go.
Yeah. So timeline, we're back in Philly, right?
Yep.
Let's just say Philly, right? You're back in Philly. You're doing School of Rock and learning your craft. What made you choose guitar? Why is that your instrument?
For me, growing up, my first, I guess, introduction to music was just banging on my grandmother's piano when I was a toddler. Not making sense of anything, just slamming on the keys. And then grade school, typical band thing that everyone does, played clarinet, first chair. And then I just started stealing my brother's metal records because he's a huge, avid metal fan. And around 13, before Christmas, I kind of just went to my folks. They're like, I want a guitar. And they were really confused because it just came out of the blue. And within a week of receiving my first guitar, I was playing along to my, Metallica and stuff like that. So,
Nice.
You get that sense of, this is probably what I'm meant to do because it's just so natural and stuff. Then I would spend every day like 9 hours in my garage just learning as much as I could. And my mom at the time, the daily newspaper, Daily Times, around where I'm from, there was an ad for this school rock thing in Philly, which was the original school. And since I was just locked in a garage by myself playing, my mom said, you need to get out and jam and, have to learn how to be on stage and stuff like that. And so she took me to this school.
Yeah, is that what Jack Black kind of...
Yeah, they based it off the Philly
Based
school.
it off of that, yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
actually...
very cool.
I know, don't quote me on this, but when I joined this school, they were telling me that, Jack actually came in and the people from that movie came in to, study what was going on and then never gave them credit.
No, that's
just
sometimes
kind of ran
that
off
happens,
with the
right?
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I guess it's kind of like the rainbow in Hard Rock Cafe, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
Courtney, as you were deciding, when you actually asked about the guitar, was heavy metal your genre at the time when you were 13?
It's a very strange period of time for me because, I was born in 89, so I was kind of growing up in the bubblegum pop era. So when I was just getting into metal, it was just very strange having a Backstreet Boys CD and like Kill 'Em All Metallica at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little contrast.
Right.
A song's a good song, so. But yeah, man.
Yeah,
I still love
kidding,
Backstreet Boys too, so.
Yeah, I got to tell you, my best friend Dave, he's probably going to kill me right now. He's actually over in London. you know, on his phone, he's a Swiftie, right? But he's also a metalhead. So we'll go and throw horns at Arch Enemy, and then he'll go and watch Taylor Swift like the next weekend, right? So, but yeah, it's true. Like good music's good music at the end of the day.
Wait,
right?
is he in London for the football game or is it something different?
No, actually, him and his girl Ashley met through Nita's Body Shred.
Wow,
and,
that's wonderful.
So they started actually you know, dating online, and one day we're sitting at my kitchen table, and I'm like, you got to go. He's like, I'm not going to go. I'm like, well, I'm buying a ticket right now. So he ended up going. It's really cool. And the rest is history. I mean, it's about 2 years, I guess, or so now.
Wow, that's such
really
a great story. Oh,
yeah. So anyway, so let's go. We're back at the School of Rock, right? What was the nightest for you to start touring? Like, is that part of the curriculum? Like, talk about that.
Yeah, basically they had this, like, they call it all-star program. So like the top students, and I was the worst student ever. I actually really lucked out because I pretty much never went to my lessons because I was kind of that I want to teach myself kind of, you know, person. But,
I resonate with that 100%. Yeah.
The rebel in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd say, you know, there's nothing you can't really teach yourself, and then you don't really want to end up sounding like your teacher. That makes sense. You know, I want to find my own sound, find my own way to do things.
Yeah,
so
100%.
It's more me. But in this school, I lucked out because, you know, my playing was already there pretty much. So I kind of rose to the top when I first joined. And this all-star program thing was they, you know, put this group together and you go on the road. And I remember my first tour with the all-star group was Adrian Blue, King Crimson. And then the second one was John Anderson of Yes. And here I am at most of the sound. Yeah, here I am most of the sound checks wearing a Slayer shirt. Everything
that's funny,
sunshine.
Right? Yeah, that's funny. That's great.
It was great because, you know, it taught you the other side of, you know, it's not just playing. It's one, being on the road, the business side of things behind, like how to book shows and deal with promoters and stuff like that. So it was great experience.
Yeah, and you learn performance too at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, sink or swim, man. You just go up.
Sounds like they were giving you a really strong foundation of what it's like out there in the industry.
Yeah, and there was no.
Did that prepare you for some of the things that you saw when you went out?
Oh, definitely. And, you know, we were a bunch of young kids, but they didn't sugarcoat anything. It was, you know, sink or swim. You know, if you did something wrong, you'd have to fix it. There was no, like, you know, kissing your A word. I think so. Just, you know, it gave us thick skin and, you know, helped us, if we wanted to pursue the career even further, how to navigate and deal with stuff. So when I moved to LA, you know, everyone warns you about, you know, record labels and people on the road or promoters and, you know, to be careful and stuff. Like, no, I've been on the road already since 15. Like, nothing really surprises me in the business anymore. So it really prepared me for later in life.
Yeah, so 15 years old, and you're finishing up at School of Rock, and you decide to move to LA. Tell us about that decision and how that ended up. How'd that play out? Like, how'd you end up there?
I left, I think, when I was 18, and I think what pushed me, it was kind of, the metal scene in Philly wasn't that big. You know, everything was really underground. And I just kind of, I guess, had that cliche, like, I want to go to Hollywood. That's where all the stars are, and rock stars, and I just got to do it. And I gave my mom a week's notice, and off I was. And from the town that I'm from, it's a small factory town. My mom was upset, of course, because, you know, the little baby's leaving home, leaving the nest. But I remember, and I'll never forget, she turned to me and she said, "You have to go, because if you don't go now, you never will." So, and I never looked back.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, all right, so now you get it. You get off the bus in LA, right? I'm assuming it's a bus. I don't know, maybe
Plane.
flew, but let's just say,
ride.
Right? So you already had contacts there. I mean, how did you end up meeting people there and start your career as a musician? You know, like, how did you build your network?
I had a few friends, you know, to help me get by right from the start, but literally I just do everything myself. It was pretty much kind of leaving home with a backpack and a guitar.
Yeah, that's that proverbial story of the artist trying to make their way, right?
Yeah. There's like, anxiety was crazy for me. And I was so young, naive, this and that. But thankfully, when my feet hit the ground there, it was, you know, MySpace era. And then people in LA telling me, "Oh, have you heard of this band called the Iron Maidens? Did you hear that they're auditioning?" And it's like, "Oh, I've heard of them." And then contacted
Adriana
them.
Smith, right?
Yeah. The funny thing is, I sent them a message on MySpace and like sent like videos of myself playing and on the road, and then I never got a response back. I was really sad. And then I forget, somehow they got a hold of me, and I was like, and then I remember saying, "Well, I sent you messages on MySpace, but you never responded." And they're like, "Yeah, we tried to, but I think you have your messages turned off."
Oh man,
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, right?
Oh no, I would be sitting here right now if they didn't find a way to contact me.
Right, yeah, absolutely. The whole history would have changed, right?
Yeah. I remember they weren't even easy on me. Like, they gave me, I think, 6 songs for the first audition, and I had a day to learn them. But I mean, I kind of knew them already because I grew up listening to Maiden.
Yep.
And first audition went great. And then the second test was, okay, here's like another 6 songs. Come back in tomorrow. Basically to see how fast I can learn material and, see if I can soak it in and stuff. And then came back the next day. I think I came with 9 songs, just to prove like how excited I am to do this. And I got the gig. And that gig was 14 years.
That says a lot about your persistence, because you had the, first of all, coming from a small town, going to the big city where thousands of people show up every day trying to make it.
Yep.
And then you get out there, you don't get the quick response that you want to hear when you're sending the messages. And for some, that would be the reason I made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
I'm hopping back over to Philly. And you did it. You're persistent, and obviously you put in the hard work and dedication. That's why you're where you're at. So it just shows people out there. You just, first of all, you don't take no for an answer, and you gotta move and make your star rise.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can't fear failure, and then other than that, it's consistency. Like, you just got to keep doing it. You're gonna hit rock bottom a million times, but you got to get back up.
I'm a huge sports fan, as we're talking about the football team going over to London. When you say Michael Jordan, you don't hear about how many shots he missed. You hear about the ones he made.
Yep.
So just everybody, a lot of times in life we miss a lot of shots, but when you make it, it's great. So you gotta miss your shots.
Yeah.
Take them. You don't get anything unless you take a shot.
Right.
Yep.
100%. So how long were the Maidens around when you auditioned? So they were pretty established already, but had they made that huge name for themselves as a tribute by that time?
They were on the climb. They started in 2001, and I think my audition was early 2009. And they were already huge in the scene over there. But it wasn't until I came in and it started moving the international way. Because I remember my first tour when the band was Japan, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
it's just, they kept climbing.
So your
they
first
still
tour,
are.
the first tour, you end up on the other side of the planet, right?
Yeah, right. Hey, what time zone is this? A
14-hour
flight,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't even know what the logistics would look like planning, a tour that far away.
Well, thankfully, my complete role was just playing guitar, and I didn't have to deal with that side of it.
Right.
Show up,
Right. So you played, how many years with the Maidens now? Was that like
14?
I was going to say 14, 15 years, right?
Time. I'm old now.
Yeah. Well, Dennis and I are older than you for sure, but anyhow, you're just more. You just got more. What would we say? More experience. That's all. Say it that way.
Courtney, look at it. You played for 14 years, and a lot of times people just see you're on stage shredding it up. Were there any challenges you had to overcome to get where you were, or things that happened that people behind that the average fan wouldn't notice that as you're trying to make it?
No, I just love what I do. It doesn't matter if it's 5 people in the crowd or 50,000. For me, every time I walk on stage, I'm just that kid in the garage playing along to my favorite songs. No nerves, no. I mean, the only difficult thing on the road pretty much is the travel, like lack of sleep, airports losing your gear, which happens to me pretty much every other trip. So in front of what the fans see, no, what you see is what you get. It's just having a good time.
You seem pretty relaxed and in a great mindset as well. I like that your comment, hey, if I have 5 people or if I'm doing what I love and I'm always back in the garage, that's a great mindset and way to look at things.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a musician, you have to take every show the same. It's the same performance, same 110%, or there's no real point of doing it. Yeah.
Is there a difference when you're performing all throughout the world as opposed to in the United States? Is there a different approach you have to take for the shows? Because, I mean, some shows you may go and some of your fans may not even know the language.
No. Like I said, just play the same. I mean, the crowds are completely different. Like, say, America to South America, completely night and day, like crazy. I think the only time I was kind of confused was the first time I played Japan, because the crowd, they're so polite. We play a song and they're rocking out, and blah, blah, but in between every song, silence.
Silence, yeah, I've heard that.
It's very respectful.
I've not experienced it, but yeah.
And you're like, do they like us? What's going on? And then, they had to brief us on that. Like, no, they'll do a slight clap, and then, it's a sign to show respect and, ready for the next song. But,
it's important to know the cultures. Growing up in the United States, we have so many cultures and the way individuals are brought up, the way they interact with you. But internationally, that's a really good point. You're going from country to country and knowing what to expect, so that you don't think to yourself, wow, maybe they don't like us. That's a tough pill to swallow in the middle of the show.
And then language-wise, I tried to just kind of prepare myself, like how to say water, where's the bathroom, where's the van, where's the hotel, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just so I'm not completely lost.
Yeah, I can relate to that. My ex-wife is actually German. She's from the Munich area. So I had to learn, like, wo sind die Toiletten? Yeah, right. Wo sind die Toiletten? Stuff like that,
Mit Katze, bitte.
Bier, and stuff like that, right? Yeah, ein Bier bitte. And
bitte.
So yeah, I totally relate to that. But one of the questions I have, like, for me, living a healthy lifestyle is a huge part of my life. And like, you can ask Dennis, when I pack up for the day, I already have like 4 meals packed with me already in Tupperware for today's, we're doing some work, today. I already have all that. I have my gym. It's literally across the street from our studio. Right. So how do you manage living that? Like, I see on social, you do a lot of, paying your dues in the gym, right? How do you manage that on a tour bus or flying all over the place? Right. Because it's huge. And 90% of living a healthy lifestyle is done in the kitchen. Right. So how do you do that?
Well, for me, I mean, even going back, from my fitness journey, I grew up as pretty much like an obese child. So I was the kid teased in school. I remember even I think it was 35th grade, I had to go to school with like a sound recorder in my purse. I got it so bad. And, and I think I was just entering high school, and I just, jumped on that fitness wagon. I dropped a good, I think 80 pounds. And then, then obviously I'm landing in LA, and then here's the 6-pack, which I never had my entire life.
Yeah.
But I started to realize, and it was gym and but mostly diet, of course. And then when you start doing these tours, you realize how important the fitness side of things is for you to remain healthy and just to get through it. And
be able to perform and do those hours that you're doing. I mean, it's huge,
it's like
right?
running a marathon every show, and you have to learn how to deal with the lack of sleep and stuff like that, but while remaining healthy and stuff. It gets really, really difficult sometimes. And I'd be that person on the tour bus, funny enough, waking up at 6 a.m. and I'm in the middle, aisle doing crunches and stretching and yoga as the bus is doing this.
I've actually done that on planes. I've done lunges right down the the aisle.
I'm guilty of that. Right? Guilty of that as well. Yeah. And
I actually I can totally relate with the childhood obesity thing. Like I suffered from that, and as a part of the reason why Apex Lifestyles exists is I actually went through a transformation. I lost 200 pounds. Just by doing a lot of push-aways and getting to the gym, right, and living healthy, no drugs, no surgery. And with that, Dennis and I actually wrote a book, a children's book, right? And it's going to be like a shameless little plug in the middle of the thing. But, I'm going to have Dennis kind of hold it up, but it talks about, basically it's me meeting my inner child, right? So, and talking about obesity and how it's a big problem for kids. So, that's interesting that we share that. And, but anyway, yeah, so I could totally relate to that. But it's always interesting to me when artists are able to stay the course on tour. Because when I travel, even for like a long weekend, it's tough to stay on that,
I think I only slipped during COVID, but I think a lot of people did because all the gyms were closed.
I think a lot of people did, for sure. Right?
I'm still working on that, like COVID-15 right now, but it's almost gone. So.
Yeah, nice.
Courtney, as Bob mentioned early, he did a little foreshadowing in the beginning about me. I love hip hop, always loved hip hop, even though in the 80s was really big metal and hard rock. I was really into it. But a friend of the show in my first hip hop group that I listened to was Run DMC. And Daryl McDaniel, DMC, the King of Rock, he's been on the show. He's friends of ours. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. He collaborated with Aerosmith. Walk This Way really brought that song back together, revived Aerosmith. And it was brilliant because back in the day, hip hop was a fad. People thought it would be a fad, it would go away. And you brought together two genres.
Yeah.
Do you have someone across genres that you could ever imagine collaborating with in a song? And if so,
David Hasselhoff.
Oh yeah, you've been posting that online. I've been watching that.
Like completely, it's like I always knew like he was doing his singing thing, but I never really listened into it until obviously now being out here in Germany because he's like God over here, and
they love him.
And now it's just like I just drive around to it. I'm like, yeah, it'd be great. And then one of the tracks came up, and it was doing "Here I Go Again" with Tracy Guns, and then I quickly like text Tracy Guns like, explain this. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I would have a lot of questions. Yeah, I have a lot of questions too. Yeah, that's fantastic.
I mean, it's more on the kind of cheesy side for David Hasselhoff, but no one else. I don't know.
We're making a collaboration happen right here, Courtney.
Yes,
this is viral. This is the shot.
No, see, I play with anyone, so yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, cool crossover. I don't know. Backstreet Boys probably still. I will always, yeah.
Are they still touring or
oh yes, they are, and I keep missing it.
yeah, there you go.
But I think they have Courtney. They have a cruise too. Yeah.
Do they?
The cruises are getting big now. Courtney, another one. Is there an artist that you wanted to emulate growing up once you really started shredding? Is there someone that you looked at and you're like, I want that to be me someday?
I remember Metallica was like what first band I like sunk my teeth into and I was into. And I remember I would just study live videos of Kirk Hammett and like try to do the foot thing, like the way he moved. I had the same pick they used, the same strings, the same strap, the same guitar, like this, that. So it's always, but that's when I was younger. That's what you do, right? But yeah,
of course.
So him, and then obviously Pantera, all the Dimebag stuff. I needed to do all that whammy bar stuff that he did, and I kind of take a little piece of your influences and then make it your own. So
yeah,
but now I'm just trying to be me. So,
yeah, you're doing a good job at it.
Do a great job being you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Right. So all right, so now we're 14 years into the Maidens, and you're on to, how did you end up meeting the crew over at Burning Witches? Like, how did that transpire? I mean, I know I saw you guys on tour and Burning Witches were your opener, but like, how did that actually, did you know them before? Like, how did that work? Take us through that.
I met Burning Witches in Europe, on a Maidens tour. They opened up for us at a venue in Austria. I forget what year was that. It was like 2016 or 2017. It's the first time we met. And then that happened again, I think 2 years later, same venue. And we became really great friends and stayed in touch during COVID. Well, before COVID, I did a guest solo on one of their records, Hex and Hammer. And then
great record, yeah.
And then COVID, it started doing those like video jams and stuff with them. Just for fun. And then coming out of COVID, we had this American tour together. I think it was just East Coast. Yeah, just East Coast. And it's just stayed in touch. Then And then Maidens were on tour with Accept in Europe. And the girls Burning Witches came to the show in Zurich, Switzerland. And they pulled me aside and explained that their guitar player was having her first child. So they asked me if I would be willing to, sub in. I mean, of course, it was an instant yes. And then fast forward a few months, and here I am as a permanent member. It's
fantastic.
The stars aligned, It's just
yeah.
And even on that American tour, I remember watching every sound check of theirs, and then I would go to Linda, the Maidens room, we're like, I need to be in this band.
Isn't that crazy how that works, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy. And I gotta say, from what I have not seen you play with the Witches live yet. I'm hoping that you guys are going to swing by the Northeast at some point.
Yeah,
right?
At some point.
Hoping
either that or a road trip. So
yeah, one or the other. What I've seen online, you guys sound great. Like, I think it just matches. It sounds fantastic. I mean, at the end of the day, it's reminiscent of, a Maiden style or, Judas Priest style, guitar sounds in there, and bringing it into, the current era, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, really good. I think you guys are fantastic. And let's talk about Dark Tower. Did you play? You were on that album, yes?
Musical album was pressed when I walked in, but they had me re-record 3 tracks, which were Unleash the Beast, World on Fire, and the ballad Tomorrow for the digital release. So I am on that.
Nice. Okay.
They redid the one cover, Shot in the Dark, Ozzy, when they released the video for that. So on the video, music video.
Yeah, you're on the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's cool. And that's what you guys are touring in support of right now, is that album?
Yeah, coming to an end on that one. That came out last May. Yeah, it's been a while.
Track. Yeah, so let's talk about your gear a little bit. I won't geek out too much. I'm actually a guitar player. Went to music school. I'm a dentist full time. That's my normal job actually. And now this is just my fun job. And let's geek out a little bit. So we already talked about your guitar early on, right? So let's talk about your outboard. Like, what do you use effects wise, and what's the situation going on there?
Well, you're in luck because I was building it right now for tour. So
nice. Here we go.
And actually, this
is for all the guitar player geeks,
It's going to be new for me because I've had the same setup since I was 15, which was always a delay chorus. There was either like a tuner and a boost. And for the last, I think, 8 years, I always had a Friedman BEOD distortion pedal on. But now, so here's the first set of it. I don't know. Oh, it's going to fall off because Velcro. That's for effects chain. So we got delay, chorus, and boost. Wireless Shure.
And the boost is for when you don't trust the sound guy, right?
No, just solos.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of getting to, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right.
And this new thing, it's not even released yet, but I'm sure I can do this.
Exclusive.
Jakey Lee,
right.
IRJ. So basically, it's
look at that.
Yeah, it's tubes in it. Yeah. So now
that's nice.
Instead of having to dial in whatever backline amp I get each venue, because you can't fly with a half stack. I have the same sound every night with this. Don't have to do anything. It just goes into preamp and done. So that's my
fantastic.
That's my new board. You're the first people
and what are you
to see
playing
that.
through? Yeah, what are you playing through? If you were on if you weren't flying, like what kind of amplification would you be using?
Oh, actually, Friedman shipped out my hybrid amp that they built for me. So it's a mix between their BE 100 clean side and the distortion side is their Butter Slacks, which I believe was the signature model from the guy Mastodon. So they built one with those two together. So
that's really
pretty
cool, actually.
Gnarly, brutal amp over here.
That sounds great. So I'm going to do something fun, right? So you got some members of your band, right? I want you to, I'm going to name a member.
Oh, dear.
And then just give us a quick synopsis of that person, like what comes to mind, like in like a sentence or less,
Okay.
All right, you got it? All right, Romana.
difficult. Sister, very nice. Take the shirt off of her back, so to speak. Always there for you. Is that okay?
Nice.
I don't know. I'm kind of just like...
No, it's perfect. Tremendous. All right, Lala.
Hilarious, strong, short.
She is short, actually. But sweet is probably when I met her. Janine?
Yeah, they're all nice. So I gotta change it up. Great stage presence. Great bass tone. Like I said, lovely. And best person to have conversation with.
Nice. And pocket
best English.
for days.
Best English.
Best English. All right, there you go. And how about so Larissa's part of the band still, kind of like at least in the background, yeah? She's still involved a little bit. Yeah. So anything to say about Larissa?
She's get funny, charming, great mother. Oh, her son. Oh my God! It's like every time we're around each other, she lets me hold him, and it's just baby fever.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, just all great. It's kind of hard to. They're all, it's like family. We're all kind of the same, only like slight, quirks between us.
Yeah. Right. And then Laura.
Squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
I just
that was the one word description, right?
Squirrel.
Right.
She's the powerful voice, stage presence, untouchable. Just they're gonna watch this, be like, that's all you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go with what's in the heart. So 20 years ago, you're School of Rock.
Oh man, don't say it that way.
All right. A second ago. So you have tremendous amount of experience in, if you walk back, what is some advice you would give your younger self or individuals fighting to get in the industry to be the next Courtney?
I would say don't compare yourself to others. Everything is going to be okay. It's not going to be easy, but you got this. And just stay true to yourself.
That's great advice. This is all about individuals hitting their apex in life. And obviously you're out there living your apex.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, there's peaks and valleys, there's obstacles. What do you think the biggest obstacle of you reaching where you're at that you've overcome? Because a lot of times people, they just see you on stage and they see you living that dream, but they don't necessarily understand it unless it's in the tabloids or in the news, a challenge. What is something you had to overcome to get where you're at? Press
was a hard one. Like keyboard warriors and stuff. Back when I was younger, I would take every negative comment to heart. And I learned, it's just, you have to ignore people, the thick skin. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and you have to live with that no matter what you do. And there's no point of trying to convince them to like you, right? To their own opinion, and it's on your playing as well. But even going back to things I would tell my younger self, you know what? I wouldn't even say anything, because you have to figure it out. If that makes sense. Because it sure does. Yeah, it's like you will figure it out. And getting back to your comment about, going from 15 to going through years of experience, obviously more eyes are on you. There's more comments and there's more people that can obviously push buttons. See, it's easy to say have thick skin, forget about it, but we're all human as well. Yeah. And sometimes somebody's going to hit that button that you just don't want them to hit. But you're just living life, you're killing it, and you're an amazing example of somebody that's hitting their apex. Yeah. Well, even the thick skin thing, like going back to, grew up as an obese child. So, I had to live with the thick skin then. So now, when I was on my fitness journey, dropped the weight, completely in shape, dealing with the whole image thing that comes with being on stage and in front of everyone's eyes, it's like, it really never got to me, or it never let it get to me, because, this person being, very sexist and, everything's, your body, this and that. Like, this would be the same guy that would have called me fat and teased me and, made me run home from school crying. So I think that helped me along the way too, being on either side of the coin, go through this industry. Because, as a female guitar player, its ears and eyes, unfortunately.
Courtney, that was actually one of my questions, and you opened the door. Is it very difficult for a woman in the industry with a lot of what makes it more challenging? And I'm sure that's one of the things that you just mentioned.
Actually, with the new age of musicians, with a lot of females, being more present and stuff, and I hate to say it, for a lot of female musicians, it's actually easier now because I think the music world has realized how marketable it is. From back when I started playing, you maybe heard about a female player here or there, but now it's like, it's in your face 24/7 with articles, like females taking over. It's like, you know what? We were always here. It's just now marketable. And everyone sees a dollar sign on it. And you see that with Instagram and, it's just, the list goes on. But I think the trouble now is, female artists staying true to themselves and not falling into that trap of marketability. You got to try to, I don't even know how to continue with this, but to paint a picture.
Well, yeah, and you hit another thing. Obviously, early on when you started, the social media really wasn't there, and now it's flown from MySpace to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. How has that changed the game for you? Or
back in the day, I enjoyed. I think YouTube was just on the scene. But for me, I always loved gaining this fan base from going out and playing shows. But on the other hand, social media is so great for everyone because exposure, reach, everything. But the only, I guess, downside of it for me, and it's very, very small, is, you can hide. You can hide behind the videos. You can hide, you can edit, you can do this. But live, there's no hiding.
Yeah, you got to bring it.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. I'm kind of like this on it.
Yeah, one of the things Dennis and I were talking about earlier is, I like seeing musicians back on the, female musicianship and all of that. I love seeing female musicians that are killing it and not resting on the marketability type of thing that we were talking about earlier. To me, that's it all should just be about guitar playing or singing or playing drums. It should not necessarily have to be about, the way someone appears or looks,
Well, and we all know the videos like on Instagram, it's like, here's one, like 3 chords and I'm wearing a bikini and
Right. I mean, like real players can see through that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just the masses that don't necessarily see through that,
Back when I was in my early 20s in the Maidens, I went on stage with a spangly bra and a vest over it. But you know what? I didn't miss a note. So music came first. And, dressing, sexy, sex kit, that was pretty much for me because, like I said, I was never really able to show my stomach or anything when I was growing up. So it was kind of like a reward for all the, the blood, sweat, and tears being in the gym and, getting in shape.
Right. I can see that for sure. So let's switch gears a little bit. I just want to talk about what was the most memorable experience you have had on stage or on tour in a performance, anything like that? What's your most memorable story that you can share with the audience?
I'm playing Bakken. Or both times playing Bakken, but not like 80, 90,000 people. Oh,
surreal.
It's just crazy.
I still have yet to go over there.
Yeah, you have to.
And I've been to Germany. I don't even know how many times. It's just like ad nauseum, right? And over the years, and every time I wanted to go over there, but I had to go and visit family and whatever. But never got around to the timing was never right. But I guess Dennis, it might be time for a road trip at some point.
We have several road trips we have to do, and that sounds like a big one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
So, like I said, it's not even just Wacken. At all the festivals out here, which is why I'm actually really excited I made that decision to move out here, because the festival season, there's a festival like every other day, and they're massive. The Wacken, Hellfest, Summer Breeze. It's not just Wacken. It seems everywhere.
It seems like Europe is like the metal haven in the world. Yeah. It seems like it gets a lot more respect than in the States these days.
Yeah. Even coming from the West Coast, when I was with the Maidens, it's, in LA, it's like, impress me, at every show.
Yeah.
Whereas in Europe, everyone goes out to every show, every band. They are there for the first opener. rain or shine. It was so eye-opening.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, that's what, again, you're going to refer back to my buddy Dave. He feels like, when he goes to London and spends time with Ashley, he feels like it's back, 20 years ago back here in the States, like the way the music scene is still over there. It's very robust. And it seems like sometimes New England gets a little forgotten on those metal tours, so it's kind of a sad thing.
Philly too. Yeah. Philly gets missed a lot, but I'm sure that comes down to Live Nation.
When you talk,
It's the Live Nation thing. That's another episode.
Yeah.
Courtney, when you talk about shows openers, if you sleep in an opener, you may be missing out on the next star that's getting ready to move through the industry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, all right. So you guys are embarking on a U.S. tour next few weeks. Get out and see the show, Burning Witches. Go and see CCSHRED. And can you share, we'll put in the notes at the bottom of the show, we'll put in all the ways to contact or follow you. Can you share with the audience anything about how to get in touch with you? Or follow along or whatever?
Social media, we're easy to find. Burning Witches official, I think, for Instagram, but this thing called Google. So,
yeah, right.
You can find me at CCSHRED or Instagram, Facebook at Courtney Cox official. Just make sure you spell Courtney right because of the actress. That's a whole other story.
Right.
Actually,
right.
And then the band, easy to find, ticket links, there's VIP upgrades. But another little thing, especially with my name, CCSHRED. The reason I go with CCSHRED most of the time because of my name and Courtney Cox, the actress. So
yeah, for sure.
I have to untag myself, I think, from 100 different posts a day that people do, people that can't get it right. But so that's where CCSHRED came from. No, I never told that story, I don't think. So, yeah.
Oh, see, another exclusive right here in Apex Lifestyles. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
And my brother used to make fun of me too when I first like, what, CCSHRED? That sounds so lame. And then, fast forward, I text him like, yeah, still going.
Yeah, right. You could maybe say, you're CC DeVille's like niece or something. That's the other way to, or maybe not.
No, I love Poison.
From her face, she tells the story, right?
That's a big no.
I said I love Poison. I shouldn't make faces.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all good. Courtney, you've been a great guest. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You. Yeah, that was great.
We appreciate the time. And Dennis, any last words?
Courtney, it's been amazing watching your journey as you've risen over the 20 years since you were at the School of Rock. And I think you're a great example of somebody that doesn't you never take no for an answer. You work hard, and I think you've given great advice to the listeners on how they can reach their apex in their respective area. Thank you so much for your time, and keep killing it.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dennis, you want to sign us off?
It's go time as always.
It is. Let's go.